Have you ever wondered why some people can face storms with calm while we are so easily swept away by a gentle breeze? Perhaps the secret does not lie in the world out there, but within your own mind. Tonight, let me tell you a story about the silent power of the inner self, about true freedom, and about how one can find peace amid the chaos of life. A journey, not leading outward but inward. When we realize that strength, happiness, and freedom all reside in the mind, not in the external world, that is when the journey of self-mastery truly begins. There are nights when you lie quietly in the dark, listening to your heartbeat slow, and you ask yourself, why can some people stay calm in adversity, while I am so easily shaken by a single word, a single look? That question isn't new. Thousands of years ago, the philosophers of ancient Greece and Rome wrestled with the same thought, and they found a simple yet profound answer. It is not the world that makes us suffer, but the way we perceive the world. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, once wrote in Meditations, "If you are hurt, it is because you have allowed yourself to be hurt." At first glance, it may sound cold, but it holds a treasury of wisdom. It teaches us that every reaction, every emotion, every pain begins in the mind, and once we understand that, we begin to have a choice. We can be swept away by the storm of emotions, or we can stand still and watch calmly, as an observer from afar. Self-mastery is not about suppressing emotions. It is about recognizing them without letting them take control. When anger arises, we do not deny it. We simply don't hand it the reins. When sadness visits, we do not reject it. We simply don't let it consume us. A strong mind is not one that feels nothing, but one that knows it is feeling. Epictetus, the slave who became a philosopher, once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb people, but the way they think about those things." That saying is so simple, it's easy to overlook, yet it is the very foundation of inner freedom. We cannot control others. We cannot stop the world from changing. We cannot make life perpetually gentle. But we can choose how we respond. We can choose calm amid chaos. We can choose a way of living that is not defined by external circumstances. Imagine you are walking in the rain. One person complains about getting wet. Another smiles, refreshed after a scorching day. Same rain, two minds, two worlds. So what creates happiness or suffering? Not the rain itself, but the way we experience it. Once we understand this, we stop seeking peace outside ourselves. We no longer crave praise nor tremble before the judgment of others. We begin to step into the only kingdom we truly own, our own mind. A place where, once mastered, every storm becomes just a passing breeze. Self-mastery is a journey without a destination. It is the daily practice of observing oneself, even in the smallest reactions. It's when someone insults you, and instead of striking back, you pause, take a deep breath, and ask, where is this feeling coming from? Is it truly necessary? In that moment of pause, you grow. The Stoics believed true strength is self-control. Not the strength of muscle, not power or fame, but the strength of spirit. The ability to remain calm even as the world collapses around you. And you know what? That is also the strength that lets us sleep peacefully each night. Not because everything is perfect, but because nothing holds power over us anymore. In our modern world, flooded with information and constant emotional triggers, self-mastery has become an art of living. We are pulled by social media, by news, by invisible comparisons. Every comment, every glance, every expectation can shake us. But remember this, none of it has power unless you give it power. When we stop letting the world define us, that's when we truly become free. Marcus Aurelius once reminded, The mind adapts to any circumstance just as fire absorbs what is thrown into it and burns even brighter. That quote is the key. A steadfast mind does not fear challenges, it transforms them into fuel. When it is hurt, it learns compassion. When it loses, it learns to let go. When it is lonely, it learns to converse with itself. That is the art of conscious living. Freedom within constraint. Self-mastery also means knowing your limits. Silence is not always weakness, and reaction is not always strength. The self-mastered person knows when to speak and when to listen, when to advance and when to step back. They are not led by fleeting emotions, but by clarity. They understand that every calm decision is a small victory over themselves. Someone once asked, "How can I avoid being influenced by the outside world?" The answer does not lie in controlling the world, but in redirecting attention. Instead of looking outward toward what we cannot control, we should turn inward to nurture what we can control, our attitude and our perception. That is the essence of Stoic philosophy. It is not about avoiding emotions, but learning to live with them without being ruled by them. Imagine your mind as a lake. When the wind blows, ripples rise. You cannot stop the wind, but you can allow the lake to settle. The water does not fight the wind, it simply waits. And when the wind stops, the surface becomes still again, reflecting the clear sky above. So too is our mind. When still enough, it heals itself. Some people believe that self-mastery means being emotionless, but in truth, it is the pinnacle of emotional intelligence, feeling everything deeply, yet never drowning in anything. The Stoics did not deny pain. They simply refused to let it define them. They cried when they needed to cry, laughed when they needed to laugh. Yet deep within, they preserved a quiet space where they could step back, observe their emotions, and understand this too shall pass. And you know what? Self-mastery is not only a personal journey, it is also a gift to the world. Because when you are at peace, you no longer cause pain to others. When you understand yourself, you understand others more deeply. A grounded mind radiates calm like the scent of flowers in the breeze. It speaks no words, yet everyone nearby can feel it. Perhaps in this turbulent life, the ability to remain calm is one of the most precious powers we can possess. Not everyone can be rich, powerful, or famous, but anyone can learn to live calmly, intentionally, and with gratitude. And when that happens, each day, even an ordinary one, becomes a day worth living. Epictetus once taught, "It is not the man who has the most who is happiest, but the one who needs the least. The less we are governed by desire, the less we depend on external things and the freer we become. For true freedom does not come from having everything, but from not being bound by anything." Voice slows, softens, like a lullaby, guiding the listener into stillness. When you realize that everything out there is but a reflection of your own mind, when you stop trying to control others, to prove yourself, to chase after something, that is when you will feel the peace that no one can take away, because you have returned home to yourself. Self-mastery is not a battle against the world, but a journey of learning to listen to it with a quiet heart. Because sometimes when we stop resisting, life naturally becomes gentle. And when you go to sleep tonight, remember, everything outside may change, but true peace only comes when your mind stops trembling. Sleep well in the freedom of your own being. When we understand that true peace comes from within, not from the outside world, that is when we begin the first lesson of freedom, mastering our own reactions. Life has never been a calm, unchanging stream. Every morning when we open our eyes, we step into an unpredictable world. Some news makes us smile, some surprises make us anxious, and some careless words make our hearts close. Amid all this turbulence, we often forget one thing. The only thing we truly control is our response. The ancient Greeks had an old saying, "No one steps into the same river twice," because the water is always flowing, and we are never the same as we were a moment before. Likewise, no circumstance lasts forever. Only our reactions leave their mark on the soul. We cannot control what happens, but we can control how we respond. There is a little story I love. A student once came to his master and said, "Master, I always feel uneasy. I want everything around me to go my way." The master smiled, placed a full cup of water before him, and gently tilted it. Water spilled onto the table. "Do you see?" he said. "You cannot stop the water from flowing out, but you can choose how to place the cup." "You mean?"
"I cannot change what has happened."
"But you can change how you receive it." The student fell silent. He realized that peace does not come from controlling the world, but from learning to accept it. When a storm comes, you cannot command the wind to stop, but you can choose to stand firm. You can take shelter, you can cover yourself, or you can simply stand there, feeling the wind pass by, knowing the storm will fade. In life, no one can avoid pain, failure, or loss. But what separates the strong from the weak is not fate. It is how they face it. When the world turns its back, the weak complain, while the strong look inward and find peace within themselves. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Consa, the mind is the only kingdom we truly own. We spend our lives trying to hold on to things that were never ours. Wealth, fame, affection, recognition.
Yet all of these are fragile.
They can be taken, altered, or disappear in the blink of an eye. What remains when everything else is gone?
Only the mind, the one thing no one can steal unless we surrender it ourselves. The mind is a silent kingdom, where we are both the ruler and the lawmaker.
If we let the outside world dictate our emotions, we have handed our crown to it. But if we keep awareness and observation, we remain the sovereign, even if everything else collapses. Epictetus was once enslaved. He was beaten, humiliated, yet he never felt unfree. Because in his mind, he was the freest man alive. He said, "My body may be chained, but my mind cannot be. No one can make me think what I do not choose to think." And that statement is the declaration of a liberated soul. It reminds us that freedom is not about being unbound by others, but about not being enslaved by our own emotions. Happiness is an inner ability, not the result of circumstance. We often think happiness is something that comes from outside. A good job, a perfect partner, a dream home. But then when we finally have it, we often find ourselves feeling empty, because true happiness does not lie in what we possess, but in how we perceive what we have. One person may live in a grand villa, yet feel constant anxiety about losing it. Another may live in a small home, but wakes up each morning filled with gratitude. Who is happier? Not the one who has more, but the one who needs less. The Stoics taught, "It is not the man who has the most who is happiest, but the one who depends on the least." When you no longer rely on external circumstances to feel at peace, you have found a lasting source of happiness. That happiness does not come from the outside. It is cultivated from within through calmness, gratitude, and self-mastery. There will be days when everything around you feels chaotic. Work, relationships, expectations. But if you can pause, take a deep breath and tell yourself, "I cannot control what is happening, but I can choose how to respond." In that very moment, you reclaim your power. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but an observer of it. And that is the beginning of wisdom. Self-mastery is not about denying emotions, but about befriending them. Imagine your mind as a garden. If you leave it unattended, weeds will grow. But if you tend it, water it, prune it, it will blossom. Emotions are the same. They need to be acknowledged and understood, but not allowed to control our actions. The wise do not suppress fear. They understand it. They do not banish anger. They look straight at it and ask, "What have you come to teach me?" Every emotion is a visitor, and when we treat our visitors with awareness, they leave in peace. One day, you will realize the human mind is like a mirror. When it's covered with dust, it reflects only a blur. But when we wipe it clean with mindfulness and self-observation, everything becomes clear. The world doesn't change, only our perception does. Just like still water reflects the entire sky, while disturbed water reflects only its own chaos. True happiness is not having everything we want. It is wanting everything we already have. A contented mind is a free mind, because when we stop chasing what's outside, we begin the journey inward, to the place where no one can steal our peace. You might think these are merely philosophical ideas, but in truth, they are the science of the mind. When we change our reactions, we change our body's chemistry. When we stay calm, the heartbeat slows, breathing deepens, and stress hormones fade. The body begins to heal itself. A tranquil mind is not just a philosophy, it is one of the most powerful natural medicines humanity has ever known. So, whenever you face something that stirs unease, a conflict, a loss, a fear, try to pause. Don't react immediately. Observe, because the space between stimulus and response is where freedom lives. In that pause, you have a choice. And every calm choice is a step closer to inner freedom. Voice slows, deepens, with a tone of quiet connection. We cannot control what happens, but we can control how we respond. The mind is the only kingdom we truly own, and happiness is an inner capacity, not the product of circumstance. When you understand these three truths, the world feels lighter.
Not because it has become easier, but because you have become stronger.
Like one who walks through the storm, knowing that the storm cannot reach their soul. And as night falls in the stillness between two breaths, you'll realize peace is not the absence of storms. It is the state of no longer fearing them. Gentle, philosophical closing tone. Remember, life may not always be kind, but your mind can be. And if you can keep calm within, then no matter how chaotic the world becomes, you will sleep peacefully through the night, because you know that true strength never lies outside. When we have learned to master ourselves, when the mind is no longer ruled by the external world, the next step of the journey is learning to live fully in the present moment. For the present is the only treasure we truly possess. Perhaps you've heard the saying, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That is not just moral advice, it is an awakening. Because throughout life, humans spend too much time analyzing, judging, and worrying. Instead of living, we argue about what is right, what is fair, what is true. Yet the more we argue, the further our minds drift from the simplest truth. Life doesn't wait for our reasoning. Life waits for us to live it. Some say, "I'll be happy when I achieve this." Others say, "I'll feel at peace when everything settles." But have you noticed that when may never come? We keep waiting for the perfect moment, but life has never been perfect. We wait for the sea to be calm before setting sail, forgetting that the ocean is never still for long. And so the years pass, we grow older, still waiting for the right time to live. Each day should be lived as if it were your last, not to make you anxious or afraid, but to awaken you. Think for a moment. If today were your final day, what would you do differently? Perhaps you'd be less angry. Perhaps you'd smile more at those you love. Perhaps you'd forgive, not because they deserve it, but because your soul deserves peace. And perhaps you'd feel grateful. Grateful to see the sunlight once more, to hear the wind, to feel life in your final breath. It is in confronting impermanence that we truly understand the value of the present. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Everything is transient. Make each moment count." That saying carries no sorrow. It is a call to awaken. Life is not long, but it can be deep. And that depth only appears when we dare to be fully present in each moment. The Stoics believed the wise man is happy with what he has, not longing for what he does not. It is not that they have given up on ambition, rather, they understand this. Ambition only holds meaning when it does not steal the present moment. We cannot truly enjoy a blooming flower today if we are busy worrying that it will wither tomorrow. We cannot love someone fully if we are always afraid they will leave. Likewise, we cannot sleep peacefully if our minds keep chasing what has yet to happen. Remember this, anxiety is a debt we pay to the future before it arrives. Worry does not solve tomorrow's problems. It only steals today's peace. Some people spend their entire lives fearing what has not yet happened.
And when those things finally do happen, they realize
their initial fear was worse than reality itself. Thus they lose their peace twice, once through worry, once through experience. The wise are different. They prepare for the future, but live in the present. They understand that only in the present moment do we truly have the power to change anything. There is a lesson from Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, who said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Indeed, most of our fears do not come from life itself, but from the stories we tell ourselves. We exaggerate dangers, predict failures, replay possible disasters in our minds. And in doing so, we imprison ourselves in an invisible cage called anxiety.
How can we let go of anxiety?
Not by running away, Duddy, but by facing it directly. Try to observe your fear as you would a passing cloud. It comes, it drifts, it fades. You don't need to push it away, just stop clinging to it. When you stop identifying with fear, it loses its power. Letting go of anxiety does not mean living carelessly. It means trusting your own ability to face what comes. Trusting that no matter what happens, you can still stand because you have learned to master your mind. Someone once asked the philosopher Epictetus, "If tomorrow I were to lose everything, how should I live?" He replied, "Live as if tomorrow does not exist, for only today is real." A seemingly paradoxical answer, yet one filled with deep wisdom. When you live fully for today, you are already prepared for every tomorrow. Try to slow down. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk.
When speaking with someone, truly listen not to the echo inside your mind.
And when you are tired, allow yourself to rest, not out of weakness, but out of respect for the present moment. The present does not need you to be perfect. It only needs you to be here. When you are fully present, even the smallest moments become sacred. A cup of tea, a breath, an afternoon of soft sunlight all become miracles unseen by those lost in worry. Someone once asked, "Why do I always feel empty?" Because they are everywhere, except where they actually are. Their mind is trapped between past and future, forgetting that life happens only in the now. Remember, the past is what has died. The future is what has not yet been born. Only the present is breathing. When you live in the present, you begin to understand something both simple and profound. There is no such thing as an ordinary moment. Only a hurried mind makes things seem dull. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have too little time, but that we waste so much of it." How true that is. We do not lack time to live. We lack attention to living. If we devoted our full awareness to the present moment, even an ordinary day would feel complete. For each such day is a miniature lifetime. Voice softens, deep and warm. The wise man is happy with what he has, not longing for what has yet to come, because happiness is not a destination. It is the way we travel. When we stop chasing, stop waiting, stop regretting, every step we take carries the fragrance of peace. And we realize that life is not in the future. It is here, in this very breath. Let go of anxiety, not because life will become easier, but because you deserve to live lighter. Stop debating what is good and start being good.
Live today as if tomorrow will not come.
Be grateful that you still have the chance to breathe, to feel, to live. And when night falls in the quiet before sleep, close your eyes and whisper to yourself, "Today,
I was fully present," because that is happiness. Final voice, soft, deep, resonating through stillness. Waste no more time arguing what is good. Be good. Live each day as if it were your last.
And the wise man is happy with what he has, not yearning for what has yet to come. Let your mind rest. Let your heart be still. For the present moment is the greatest miracle life has to offer. When we look back on life, what truly remains intact? Everything we once held, loved, or believed to be forever has changed. From the moment we are born, we live within the ceaseless flow of change. Time, people, circumstances, emotions, all drift away like water. Yet strangely, we fear change as though it were an enemy. We cling to youth, to those who have gone, to things no longer meant for us. And when they leave, we suffer, not because of the loss itself, but because we cannot accept that change is the nature of life. The Stoics believed to resist change is to resist nature, for nature moves according to the law of birth, decay, and transformation. The new arises as the old fades away, and life, in its deepest essence, is this unending dance of change. 2. The nature of impermanence. Lessons from nature. Observe a single leaf. When spring arrives, it stretches forth tender and green, shimmering in the sunlight. By autumn, it turns golden and gently falls.
No one pities the leaf, for that is the natural cycle of life. Yet when something in our own lives falls away, a person, a relationship, a dream, we suffer.
Because we forget that we too are part of nature. And that same law of change unfolds within us every day, every moment. Change is not the enemy. Change is the greatest teacher. It teaches us the art of letting go, of growing, of living fully. When we resist reality, human beings have a habit. We want everything to go our way. We wish for sunny days without rain, for lovers who never leave, for work that never fails. But life does not heed our requests. Seneca once said, "We suffer not because of fate, but because we resist it." Each time we ask, "Why me?" we are fighting nature. Each time we resent the past, we torture ourselves with what cannot be changed. Acceptance does not mean surrender. Acceptance means seeing reality as it is and choosing to move forward with calm. Epictetus once taught, "Do not wish for things to happen as you desire, but wish to desire things as they happen." That is the art of acceptance. 4. Learning to embrace. Fate with love, there is something harder than acceptance. It is embracing. Acceptance is silent before fate. Embracing is smiling at it. Marcus Aurelius, who lost his child, his wife, and faced endless wars, still wrote in his journals, "I love my fate, for it is what nature has chosen for me." That line, which may sound cold, is in truth filled with compassion. Only when the heart is spacious enough can we see pain as an essential part of the human journey. Perhaps loss does not come to punish us. It comes to teach us how to love more deeply, more maturely, and with less self-centeredness. When loss becomes a teacher, every loss leaves a void. But within that emptiness, we find the space to truly see ourselves. When someone leaves, we learn gratitude. When a dream shatters, we learn resilience. When an opportunity closes, we learn the art of letting go. Life never takes without giving something in return. It's just that the new gift often comes wrapped in the paper of loss. If we focus only on the pain, we will never open that gift. Receive without pride, let go without clinging. This phrase captures the essence of Stoic philosophy. It teaches us moderation in all emotions. When we receive, we are grateful, but not proud. When we lose, we are saddened, but not broken. For those who understand life know, nothing truly belongs to us.
Everything is only on loan. We come into this world empty-handed, and we will leave the same way.
The only thing that remains is how we lived, how deeply we loved, what we learned from change, and how peacefully we accepted life as it is. The art of letting go, freedom of the soul. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means no longer letting the past control the present.
No one can walk forward while always looking back.
And no one can love wholly while fearing loss. When you learn to let go, you lose nothing. You simply return life to itself, like a river that accepts its flow, not clinging to its source, not grasping for its mouth.
It flows because that is its nature.
And precisely for that reason, it never runs dry. 8. Serenity. The beginning of freedom, calm, does not come from an easy life. It comes from a flexible mind. The serene person does not fear change because they understand that they too are changing with every breath. They are grateful when loved, but not destroyed when parted. They celebrate success, but do not collapse in failure. They live with an open heart, knowing that everything comes and goes, like the rhythm of breathing. And the miracle is this: when we stop fearing change, change begins to bring us good things. X. The universe always moves in its perfect way. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The universe is never wrong, only our understanding of its order is incomplete. When we suffer, we think the world is against us. But if we step back, we will see that every event is part of a larger harmony. A closed door forces us to find another path. A loss teaches us to see with new eyes. Nothing is random. Even pain has its purpose, for it is what makes us more human." Ski. Conclusion. Embracing life with gratitude, slow, soft tone, a gentle closing cadence. All things change. To resist change is to resist nature. Learn to embrace fate with love and serenity. Receive without pride, let go without clinging. When you understand this, you will see life has never truly taken anything from you. Everything that leaves is merely a wave, carrying away the old to make room for the new. And you, like the ocean, remain vast, deep,
and peaceful. Final voice, a whisper that soothes like a lullaby. Let everything come as it must.
Let everything go as it will. Only when you stop trying to hold on can life flow through you in its purest beauty. And when you close your eyes tonight, say to yourself, "I do not need everything to go my way. I only need a heart calm enough to receive whatever comes." Because serenity is freedom. When we learn to accept life's changes with tranquility, we begin to step into a deeper realm of understanding, where wisdom, virtue, and inner freedom meet. For only when the soul is freed from fear and attachment can we truly live as free human beings. 4. Wisdom, virtue, and inner freedom. Freedom. Not doing whatever we want, but mastering ourselves. Perhaps everyone at some point in life has longed for one word: freedom. Freedom to live as we wish. Freedom from being bound by others. Yet paradoxically, the more we chase freedom, the more enslaved we become. We want to do what we like, yet become prisoners of desire. We crave love, yet become dependent on the affection of others. We seek recognition, yet are chained by the judgment of the crowd. The Stoics saw this truth thousands of years ago. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." A short sentence, but one that shatters every illusion of freedom. For true freedom does not lie in being able to do everything we want, but in not being ruled by our wants. When reason leads, humanity becomes truly free. For the Stoics, reason was not cold logic. It was the light that guides the soul through the dark chaos of emotion. When reason is awake, we can see clearly what to pursue and what to release. A rational person is not emotionless. They simply understand that emotions are temporary waves. If we let the waves control us, the ship of our mind will drift endlessly. But if we hold the helm firmly, we can use the waves themselves to move farther. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your reason guide you, for it is the divine part within you." Reason here is not an enemy of emotion, but a companion that helps us live rightly. It reminds us, when angry, choose compassion.
When hurt, choose forgiveness.
When confused, choose silence. That is how wisdom works. Quietly, yet powerfully. Virtue. The foundation of a peaceful life, the ancients believed. Without virtue, knowledge is useless, and the Stoics held that virtue is the only true good. Wealth, fame, power, they are merely tools. They are not evil, but without virtue to guide them, they easily become burdens on the soul. Epictetus said, "Nobility lies in being good, not in being called good." A virtuous person does not need recognition, because they know that true worth lies not in praise but in silent action. They do what is right, not to be admired, but because they cannot act otherwise. Kindness and the strength of stillness in an age where everyone strives to be seen. The one who quietly does what is right is the strongest of all.
For they need no validation.
They need no applause. They simply live by their own principles, whether or not anyone notices. That is the strength of one who masters their inner world, unaffected by praise, unshaken by criticism, because they understand our worth does not lie in the eyes of others, but in how we see ourselves. Inner freedom. When we are no longer hostages of emotions. Think about it. How many times have you been angry because of a careless word? How many nights have you lost sleep because someone didn't respond as you hoped? How many moments have you felt lost simply because someone didn't understand you? In those moments we think we're living, but in truth we're being controlled. Controlled by emotion, by the need for approval, by fear of rejection. Inner freedom begins with realizing that no one controls our emotions but us. When insulted, we can choose silence. When we fail, we can choose to learn and move forward. When misunderstood, we can choose to smile. This kind of freedom is not loud or dramatic. It is gentle as breath, and yet once we have it, nothing in the world can break us. Sing wisdom, not knowing much, but understanding. Deeply, the intelligent know many things. The wise need only understand one, themselves. Stoic philosophy does not aim to create scholars, but to teach people how to understand their own minds. To realize that all distress begins within. To see that we cannot control the world, but we can control our response to it. The wise do not need to win every argument, for they know that conquering themselves is the greatest victory. They do not rush to judge, for they understand that everyone walks their own path, carrying their own pain, and thus they become gentle without being weak, calm without being indifferent. When virtue and wisdom become one someone once asked, "What makes a person good?" Marcus Aurelius replied, "A soul that lives in harmony with reason and in accord with nature." To live in accord with nature does not mean to follow our impulses, but to live true to the goodness inherent within us. For deep inside every person lies a seed of kindness. That seed blooms only when nourished by wisdom. Virtue is not a single act. It is a way of living. It is how we behave when no one is watching. It is choosing silence over causing harm. It is honesty, even in the smallest of things. When wisdom and virtue become one, we enter the state of complete inner freedom. Take the freedom of those who no longer need to prove themselves. Those who are not yet free are always seeking to prove something. They speak loudly to be heard. They strive for success to gain validation. They love in order to be loved back. But the truly free need not prove anything. They live like the sun, shining without waiting to be seen. They love like a river, flowing without expecting return. That is the freedom of one who understands themselves, because they know that worth does not come from being praised as good, but from becoming good quietly. When the soul is free, the world changes too. When our mind is free, every external circumstance feels lighter. Those who insult us become lessons in compassion.
Failure becomes a teacher of perseverance.
Loss becomes a doorway to understanding impermanence. The free person does not live in the illusion of constant happiness, but in the calm clarity of wisdom. They know that happiness is not something to chase. It is an attitude to choose each day. Conclusion. True freedom is inner peace, soft, deep, slow, like a voice guiding the listener into reflection. True freedom is to live by reason and virtue,
ungoverned by desire. No one is free until they have mastered themselves.
And nobility lies not in being called good, but in becoming good. When you understand this, you will see freedom is not found in escaping the world, but in living within it, unbound by it. When your heart no longer sways with praise or blame, when you can smile amid uncertainty, when you choose kindness even in an unfair world, that is true freedom. Voice softens, fades like a wish in the night. Sleep peacefully, for no chain can imprison a soul that knows itself. Freedom is not outside, it lives in every tranquil breath you take. When the mind is free, when we have learned to live with reason and virtue, another door opens, the door to deeper self-understanding. For no knowledge is greater than the knowledge of oneself, and no education is more vital than the education of the soul. 5. Education, knowledge, and self-awareness. To know yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. The words of Socrates, the great philosopher of Greece, have endured through millennia. Know thyself. To know oneself is not to know one's name, profession or past. It is to look deeply within, to understand one's motives, limits, fears, and desires. For when we do not know ourselves, we are easily led by the world. We act not from principle, but from comparison. We study not to grow, but to outshine others. We speak of knowledge while our hearts remain confused and conflicted. The Stoics called this blindness of the mind, and Socrates said, "He who does not know himself, no matter how much he has learned, is still a fool." True knowledge lies not in books, but in awareness. We live in an age of information where every piece of knowledge is a click away. Yet the more we know, the more lost we seem to become. Learning without self-understanding only breeds confusion. We absorb data, but we do not digest it. We know much about the world, yet remain strangers to our own soul. Stoic philosophy teaches, knowledge is not meant to be displayed and texty, it is meant to be lived. What matters is not how much more we know than others, but how deeply we understand ourselves. For without self-knowledge, all information becomes mere noise in the mind. Learning is the training of the soul, not the gathering of facts. Education, in its original sense, was never about filling the mind, but about awakening the wisdom already sleeping within. In ancient times, people studied first to cultivate themselves, only then to govern others. For without moral discipline, all knowledge can be misused. An intelligent person without virtue is like a sharp knife in the hands of the blind. Epictetus once told his students, "It is no use reading Plato if, after reading, you remain angry, greedy, or arrogant." True learning is not measured by the number of books we read, but by how much we transform after each lesson. Education of the soul is more important than education of the mind. An education that teaches what to do, but not why, creates people who are skilled, but soulless. Today, we produce brilliant minds, yet many hearts are barren. We know how to conquer the stars, but not how to master ourselves. The education of the soul does not happen in classrooms. It unfolds in how we live, how we treat others, and how we take responsibility for our own mistakes. A person who listens, empathizes, and practices humility, that is someone who has been truly educated. Learn to understand. Not to win, people often study to surpass others, to prove their intelligence or talent. But the wise do not learn to win. They learn to understand, to love, and to live more deeply. They know that every piece of knowledge is but a fragment in the infinite map of the universe. And when they recognize their own limits, they become humble. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor holding supreme power, still wrote in Meditations, "I am but a student of nature, striving to understand what lies beyond my grasp. That humility is the truest mark of wisdom." Seeing, learning from life, not just from books. Knowledge does not live only in books. It breathes through experiences, mistakes, and even silences. Every person we meet is a lesson. Every failure is a chapter in the book of life. If we are mindful enough to listen, life itself becomes the greatest teacher. Epictetus, once a slave, had no school, no formal teacher, but he learned from pain, from humiliation, from the hardships of bondage. And out of that darkness, he discovered the light of wisdom. That teaches us. True knowledge does not come from comfort, but from the ability to find meaning in adversity. Self-awareness, the foundation of all growth. No step forward in life begins without first looking inward. Self-awareness is not self-judgment. It is the ability to observe oneself with honesty and compassion, to recognize when we are weak, when we are wrong, and when we need to change. Those who possess self-awareness never stop learning, because they understand that learning is not to know more, but to see more clearly. When knowledge and the soul meet, there is a kind of wisdom that does not come from reasoning, but from silent listening. It is the wisdom of those who have suffered, yet are not bitter, who have lost, yet still choose to love, who have been lost, yet still believe in goodness. They have learned what no school can teach: how to live with a peaceful heart in an unpeaceful world. And that is the summit of soulful education, EGS. Educating the soul matters more than educating the mind. If we teach children how to calculate, but not how to love, we will create minds that can measure everything, but feel nothing. If we teach people how to argue, but not how to listen, we will build a world full of voices but devoid of understanding. If we teach success, but not how to face failure, we will raise fragile hearts that shatter at the first storm. Educating the soul is not about rigid morality. It is about nurturing sensitivity to beauty, gratitude, patience, and compassion. For in the end, knowledge makes us capable, but only the soul makes us happy. X. Conclusion: wisdom is knowing, but more than that, living what you know. Closing tone, deep, slow, like an echo in the night. To know yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Learning is not merely acquiring information, but refining the soul and the character. Education of the soul matters more than education of the intellect. For knowledge is not meant to be displayed, but to illuminate the inner path. When we know ourselves, we cease to judge others. When we understand ourselves, we begin to understand the world. And when we learn from life with an open heart, we discover that every experience, joy or sorrow, is a lesson the universe sends for our growth. Voice softens, like a gentle lullaby. Learn every day, but learn in peace.
Read with your eyes, but understand with your heart.
For true knowledge does not lie in what we remember, but in how we live after understanding. As night falls, let your mind settle like calm water, so that each lesson of life may reflect upon it, gently, clearly, and in silence. When we have learned to master ourselves, to live fully in the present, to accept change, and to cultivate wisdom and virtue, what remains to complete life is love. For all wisdom in the world would be dry if not kindled by compassion. 6. Love, friendship, and community. Humanity is born to live. Together, since the dawn of time, humans have lived side by side to survive, to hunt together, share food, and protect one another from the darkness. Yet as society advances, we grow apart. We connect through screens, but our souls grow lonelier. We have thousands of friends online, but few who truly sit beside us in silence and understanding. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Human beings are made for one another. To go against that is to go against nature." It sounds simple, but it holds one of the deepest truths about existence. Nature did not make us as isolated islands, but as parts of a greater whole, a living body called humanity. When we forget that connection, we lose a part of ourselves. 2. No one is happy. Alone, we often believe happiness is a personal project, something we can build alone, like a fortress of independence. But the truth is, no one is happy alone. Happiness finds meaning only when it is shared. Joy becomes complete when we have someone to smile with. Even pain feels lighter when there is a hand to hold. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man needs friends, not to lean on, but to have someone with whom to live fully." For friendship, love, and compassion are the bridges that connect human hearts, and the mirrors that reflect our own souls. 3. A true friend is a single soul, dwelling in two bodies. So said Aristotle. And he was right. True, friendship does not arise from perfect similarity, but from unconditional acceptance. A true friend is one who can see the darkness within you and still does not turn away. One who reminds you of your worth, even when you have forgotten it. Friendship, to the Stoics, is a form of virtue, for a wise person does not choose friends for gain, but for sincerity. In the silence of the night, remember the faces of those who have walked beside you through storms. No words are needed. Just the thought of them is enough to warm your heart. That is true friendship. Gentle, quiet, and steadfast, like a candle's flame in the long night. Sphere, love. When the heart becomes a mirror of the self, someone once asked, is there love in Stoic philosophy? The answer is yes, but not the fleeting love of passion, rather the love born of understanding. True love helps us know ourselves more deeply, because when we love someone, we see reflected in them our own weaknesses, selfishness, and fragility. Love is not just emotion, it is inner growth. The Stoics did not teach us to love less, but to love rightly, with awareness, without possession, without chains. To love someone is not to hold them back, but to grow alongside them, to watch them be free and smile still, to understand that if two souls seek goodness, then no distance can truly separate them, for they will always meet in the light of understanding. Love and acceptance. In love, we often want the other to be who we wish them to be. But true love begins only when we accept the other as they are. Love is not the effort to mold someone into our ideal, but the art of seeing beauty in their imperfection. Like how we love a flower, not because it will never fade, but because we know it will, and that knowledge makes it precious. When we love in acceptance,
love becomes stillness, no longer a storm of emotions,
but a calm lake reflecting the entire sky. Cell, community. The tapestry of compassion love is not confined to two people. It is also love for humanity, for life, for the world itself. Marcus Aurelius once compared each person to a single cell in one great body. If one part is hurt, the whole suffers. If one part heals, the whole grows stronger. That is why compassion is not merely a virtue. It is our natural instinct. When we help another, we help ourselves, for we are not separate. When we spread kindness, we send healing energy back into our own hearts. The Stoics believed man is born for the sake of his fellow men, just as the right hand is born to aid the left. Only when we understand this can we touch the deepest kind of happiness, the happiness of belonging. Septin, love, friendship, and compassion. 3 paths to freedom. Love teaches us to let go of the ego. Friendship teaches us sincerity. Community teaches us responsibility and sharing. All 3 lead us to the same destination, inner freedom. For when we know how to love rightly, we no longer fear loss. When we know friendship is a gift, we are never alone. And when we see ourselves as part of the world, we no longer feel small in the vast universe. 8. No one is happy alone. Happiness is not the house we build for ourselves, but the light we share with others. A hug, a kind word, a compassionate glance. Sometimes they are worth more than 1,000 lessons in philosophy. Because philosophy is words, but love is the warmth of existence itself. Conclusion. When love becomes the highest form of wisdom, narration slows, soft, deep, like the final breath of meditation. A true friend is a single soul dwelling in 2 bodies, and human beings are born to live together, for no one is happy alone. When we learn to love without possession, to care without demand, to give without calculation, we touch the highest form of wisdom, the wisdom of the heart. And love, when it reaches that height, is no longer a bond but a pure energy connecting all living beings. Love does not need to be perfect.
It only needs to be sincere.
For when we love with a clear heart, we heal ourselves and the world around us. So tonight, sleep in gratitude for all those who have come, who have gone,
And who have taught you how to love. For in the end,
it is not knowledge, wealth, or power, but love that makes us whole. Closing of the entire journey. Science for sleep, life changing. Quotes you need to hear. From mastering the self, living in the present, accepting change, cultivating wisdom, nurturing the soul, to loving the world. That is the journey of a free human being, living rightly, living mindfully, and living with a peaceful heart. To live well is not to live long, but to live rightly, with principle, gratitude, and serenity. We have walked together through the journey of the soul, from self-mastery, presence and acceptance to wisdom, virtue,
and love. Every chapter, every word,
every reflection, all led to one destination, back home to yourself. For all strength, happiness, and freedom do not dwell in the outer world, but in the tranquil and lucid mind within each of us. Now pause for a moment, take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat. That steady rhythm is proof that you are still alive, still blessed with the chance to live rightly, beautifully, and freely. No one can escape change,
loss or loneliness.
but if we can be grateful for each fleeting moment, if we have the courage to look within and truly understand ourselves, and if we choose to live kindly, even in silence, then that alone is already a life worth honoring. To live well is not to live long, but to live rightly, with principle, gratitude, and serenity. Let these words drift through the night like a soft breath, neither loud nor hurried, simply a gentle reminder that peace does not lie in where we are going, but in how we walk the path. Now close your eyes, release every thought, and allow your mind to rest. For tonight, there is no need to strive anymore.
You are enough. Life that is enough. Sleep well.
In the stillness of a free soul. And when dawn comes, carry with you gratitude and serenity, for that is the beginning of a new day and the secret to a peaceful life.